So guys, Bola Tinubu has attacked Atiku Abubakar because of what he said about Nnamdi Kanu and how he urged the federal government and threatened that he was going to join Yellow Sowore to protest at Aso Rock for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And Bola Tinubu was not happy about that. He now sent his aide to attack Atiku Abubakar. I'm going to show you what Bola Tinubu's aide said about Atiku Abubakar's call for the unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu. Like I said, Nnamdi Kanu's case has become purely political, nothing else. They're not even looking at the merits or whatever thing. They just want to politicize the entire case. I'm going to read in proper context, and again, I'm going to show you how P2B came out and called out Bola Tinubu and told the Independent National Electoral Commission, being INEC, that they should make sure that they vet through Bola Tinubu's certificates ahead of the 2027 presidential election. After Tinubu's minister from Enugu State, Nnaji, the Minister of Science and Technology, was caught in forgery. He claimed that he attended UNN in Anambra State, and UNN came out and said, no, this man did not attend our school and probably did not obtain this certificate. And this is the order of the day in a country like Nigeria, whereby politicians go to obtain certificate illegally just to occupy political positions in the country. And apart from that, we have other things we're going to discuss. How Senator Orji Okaro came out and defended the certificate forgery of this professor, or this Uche Nnaj, who forged his certificate. A lot of things are going on, but let us start with Atiku Abubakar's own and what Bola Tinubu's aide said to Atiku Abubakar after he urged the federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. Now let me start with that one. Let me read in proper context. But meanwhile, do well to subscribe if you enjoy what we do here. If you enjoy the political discourse and everything that happens here, do well to subscribe. It will cost you nothing to tap on the subscribe button, so you become one of us and be getting important political updates and gist. Let's head back straight to the point. So as you can see on the screen, it said Atiku's support for Nnamdi Kanu's release is disgraceful, says Tinubu's aide. Let me read in proper context for you to see what he said. He said, the senior special assistant to President Bola Tinubu, being Temitope Ajayi, has described former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's call for the release of the 10th IPOB leader, being Nnamdi Kanu, as desperate and disgraceful, accusing the opposition figure of exploiting a sensitive legal matter for political gain. He made the remarks on Thursday in a post on his social media handle shortly after Mr. Atiku announced his intention to join activist Yellow Sowore's planned Free Nnamdi Kanu protest at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa on October 20th. He said the political desperation, this is what Bola Tinubu's aide is saying, the political desperation that will make a former vice president and a supposed statesman advance this kind of disgraceful agenda is mind-numbing, Mr. Ajayi wrote. Mr. Ajayi said it was mind-numbing that a former vice president and presidential aspirant would publicly align with what he described as a disgraceful agenda that undermines the rule of law. Mr. Atiku had earlier stated that Mr. Kanu's prolonged detention, despite multiple court orders granting him bail, represented an open sore on the nation's conscience and a stain on our belief in the rule of law. He said, defying court orders that granted him bail is an abuse of power and an assault on justice. This is what Atiku Abubakar said in the post he made today. I lent my voice in full support of the campaign led by Yellow Sowore for his immediate release or due prosecution. But responding on behalf of the presidency, Mr. Ajayi insisted that the blame for the prolonged legal process lays squarely with Mr. Nnamdi Kanu and his lawyers, not the government. If Nnamdi Kanu has stayed long in detention and his case has dragged on, it is because he made it so himself, not because the legal system is against him, Mr. Ajayi said. So he's claimed that Nnamdi Kanu was the one that is actually delaying his case. But we all know the truth here. But let's continue. Because they know that, we all know how the federal government has been, prolonging and adjourning this particular case it became annoying. But let us try to go ahead with what this particular presidency was saying. He said Kanu and his lawyers have used every trick and legal gymnastics to frustrate his trial. The prosecution has closed its case against him. It is time for him to open his defense. He further noted that a court had already dismissed a no-case submission entered by Mr. Kanu's legal team, ruling that the IPOB leader must face trial. This particular man, he's speaking on behalf of the presidency and all that, but we understand that now they want to politicize Nnamdi Kanu's case. It's no longer all about justice or anything. They just want to politicize it. But Tinubu wants to keep him there ahead of the 2027 presidential election because he knows that he's not quite sure or unsure if releasing him or probably keeping him there will actually affect him. So he's trying to monitor the situation and the mindset of people. But the fact remains that this man should be released for the internal peace in the Southeast region. Enough of all this rascality. We all know that the presidency has been prolonging this case and using it as for political gimmicks or whatever thing they call it. We all know this is not even a part of Nnamdi Kanu's legal team. No, the presidency has intentionally been delaying this case unnecessarily. For 2021, the presidency will bring a charge today. They will remove the charge. They will amend the charge. This, we all know this case. We will be following this case, and we all know the truth. So the presidency should stop lying that it is Nnamdi Kanu's legal team. No, the presidency has been the one intentionally trying to delay this case for political reasons and for political gains. Enough of all this. So this is how the presidency actually reacted today. Now let me show you what P2B told the INEC body to do, because you remember Tinubu's minister Bin Naji was caught in certificate forgery. Remember, Tinubu had a very big issue of certificate forgery ahead and after the 2023 presidential election. Till now, that matter is still unresolved. The only thing the Supreme Court said is that it is a pre-election matter, that they cannot treat a pre-election matter. So they discontinued that case because of technicalities. So they dismissed that case based on technicalities, not because the case came to a reasonable end or conclusion. No. So P2B is now urging the Independent National Electoral Commission that let 2023 not repeat itself ahead of 2027. Make sure that any presidential candidate or any candidate vying for any position that submits his or her credentials to you must be vetted through to check for the authenticity, the validity, and to vet if truly this person obtained the certificate, and not afterwards. And this is what happened in the case of this Professor Nnaji. Imagine after serving as a minister for over how many years? Yeah, it is now that he is resigning because he was caught. Had it been he was not caught, nobody would have known. And the same thing is happening in our political system today. Many of your leaders do not have one single certificate. Most of them forge the certificate they are holding. But meanwhile, let us see what P2B told Atiku back and the INEC body to do. P2B said, as you see on the screen, certificate integrity and the future of Nigerian leadership. It is commendable that the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, being Mr. Uche Nnaji, has resigned following the controversy surrounding discrepancies in his academic certificates. That is a decent and honorable step. Similarly, we can recall that during President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, the then Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, resigned after issues were raised concerning her NYSC certificate. These instances remind us that such matters are not trivial. They constitute serious criminal offenses. As we approach the 2027 general elections, INEC and all relevant agencies must take decisive steps to verify and authenticate all academic and professional certificates of every candidate. He knows why he's saying this. From the president down to the local government councillors, we cannot continue to allow dishonesty and criminality to sit at the heart of leadership. As a matter of urgency, this is the time for a comprehensive national review of the qualification and background. So they said other nations like Ghana have set an example by thoroughly cross-checking the educational claims and credentials of all candidates before elections. Nigeria must not do less. It is appalling that our electoral body carries out little or no due diligence in confirming certificates submitted by candidates. Continuous discrepancies, false declarations, and forged credentials undermine the credibility of our democracy. If we truly desire a free, fair, and credible 2027 election, the process of integrity must begin now. INEC has enough time to investigate past complaints about various forms of forgery and false claims. Every incumbent and aspiring candidate must submit all academic certificates immediately for verification and public accessibility, clearly detailing schools attended from primary to university. Remember, today nobody knows the primary school that Tinubu attended, neither do we even know the secondary school. But let's go ahead. Let truth, transparency, and accountability form the foundation of leadership in our dear country. Only then can we build a Nigeria where public service is anchored on honor, not the seat. We must get it right. A new Nigeria is possible. So P2B is actually throwing a very big shade at Mr. Bola Tinubu, because we all knew what happened after the 2023 presidential election. Till now, there are a lot of things, discrepancies about Bola Tinubu. Nobody even knows his date of birth has discrepancies. A lot of things about him are even uncertain. And he was the one that is even blocking the US from releasing his academic result and some of his personal details. Imagine the number one citizen of the country is blocking some of the details and information about him not to be released. It smells suspicion that something suspicious is actually happening, and he doesn't want it to be revealed. So P2B is calling on INEC not to repeat the mistake of 2023, and they should thoroughly vet through the certificates of these politicians and aspirants, that they have enough time. You have enough time. Nations do it, but in Nigeria, yeah, anything goes. They will tell you go to court, because they know that after they must have forged certificate, they will tell you go to court. When you go to court, they will buy over the judiciary, and at the end of the day, they would buy themselves over and rule for thy kingdom come with fake certificates. It's a criminal offense. You dare not try that in countries that are working. In fact, you'll be in prison. Some of them are even death sentences. But in Nigeria here, till now, as I'm making this particular video, if they tell you the number of leaders that are occupying public offices with forged and fake certificates, you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. But that is what P2B is saying, that the Independent National Electoral Commission needs to do better. You need to do better other than just accepting certificates. You need to vet through these certificates, not after those people have been elected into offices. You now tell people, if you have issues with their certificate and qualification, go to court. When you go to court, remember, the court will tell you that these are pre-election matter. You keep on wondering, so at what point are we going to hold these people accountable? Before the election, the INEC do not vet through those things. They will tell you it is the responsibility of the court. When you go to court after the election, the court will tell you that they are pre-election matters. So at the end of the day, you see that these politicians can find their way through with their criminality, with their forgery, and every other thing. And it's a wrong legal, will I use the word? Is a wrong legal framework in the country. These are pre-election matters. Fine, then let INEC body do the needful. Let them do their due diligence, ensuring that they vet through the certificates of each candidate or aspirant that comes for the 2027 election, irrespective of the political position they're actually vying for. Well, that's all we have for you guys for that one. Let's talk about how Orji Zokari came out and defended Prof. Nnaji. Look at what, and this is the kind of country Nigeria is. Look at what Orji Zokari said. That Senator Orji Zokari, Defense Minister Uche Nnaji, over certificate forgery scandal, says he is not a force in the world. I don't blame him because he himself he has been. So I don't blame Orji Zokari because he himself has been convicted before. He has spent about 6 months before they gave him pardon and co, and the case they politicized the case and brought him out. So imagine saying that that it does not matter, that he's not the first person in the world. And this is how they try to trivialize issues, criminal issues, that a minister of science and technology, a key factor or a key ministry in Nigeria, forged his own certificate, lied under oath, perjury, and a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, being Orji Zokari, is coming out to say that he the first person, meaning that people should just allow that particular case to be buried under the floor. And this is why Nigeria keeps on being the way it is, because leaders are not being punished for all they do. That's why a leader can come out and embezzle billions, trillions, and go scot-free. They tell EFCC will catch them. Which EFCC? How many people, how many past governors or leaders has the EFCC prosecuted and recovered money from? These people are now having the impunity to do it more because they know that if we embezzle highest, they will make noise. At the end of the day, they will go scot-free. And that is how it is today. And that's what gives them the impetus, the morale and impunity to keep on repeating this same thing. People are still embezzling money as I'm talking to you today. Now, if Nigerians, imagine the kind of politicians who have this mentality, is he the first person? And that person will still do it. And when you ask him, say, am I the first person? So you see that the precedent that they've set already by these criminal politicians are so low that they don't have any regard for the rule of law. They cannot try this thing. Most of them cannot try this in outside. In fact, they cannot even forge a little document overseas because they know that they will be in prison for that. But when they come to Nigeria, they take the country as a dumping ground. They forge all the certificates, they forge signatures just to embezzle money. Just to embezzle money. But when they go overseas, they cannot even forge anything. In fact, they dare not try it because they know the consequences over there. But in Nigeria, they believe that they can bypass. So they believe that they can easily bypass the entire system. And that is basically the truth. That is why you see them fighting tooth and nail to ensure that they enter into any political position so that they can have that immunity against prosecution. Something like this. Well, that's basically all we have for you guys. Please we keep on updating you guys. Do well to subscribe. It will not cost you anything. Just tap on the subscribe button and like button so that this particular video can go viral and people will actually see what's actually going on in the country. See you guys later and drop your comments in the comment section. Bye.